So here we have two dehydrators stacked creatively on top of one another. The first one is the Excalibur food dehydrator, which you've probably heard of before if you've ever looked into dehydrators. And the other one is the newer model by Tribest. It's called the Sedona dehydrator. And that one looks a bit more modern. It has kind of chicer front and more of a digital setting up here. The Excalibur just has a knob on the top that you turn to what temperature you want. Either one is good though. They both work just fine as far as I'm concerned. So if you're an Excalibur owner, you're going to have a tray like this to work with, and these are the mesh sheets that come with it, and you'll just need one of those so the coconut doesn't fall through. You do not need a Teflex sheet. These are for making cookies and crackers that you need to spread out, but not for coconut. So I just place this down in a sanitary place and sprinkle the coconut evenly on the entire sheet. I'll probably put this whole bowl full on. And then no science to it, no perfection needed. A few pieces might be thicker than other pieces, but just about like that. And since I have so many trays, I'm not going to worry about getting it right to the edge, and then that's just going to make a mess if I try to push it to the edge. So there we go, and slip it in. Set the dehydrator actually to less than 118 degrees because the Excalibur tends to run hot. And you can hear that start to run. It's louder actually than the Sedona, so I'll give you a test of how the Sedona sounds. Next. That's the Sedona running. That's much nicer actually. Okay? I'm going to grate a little bit more coconut so I can show you what it looks like in the Sedona dehydrator. So what I look for the next part of this project is the blank plate for the Omega 8005. So as you can see, there's no holes there, so it's not a screen, it's a blank. And I don't know if you can see the Omega on the camera, but you shove it in there. And I'll kind of focus the camera now on the Omega so that you can see how that all works. Otherwise, you assemble the Omega just the same as you always would. Make sure it's running. Now with a blank plate, there's not going to be any pulp. It's just going to masticate the whole food into a mush and put it out the other end. So I don't need 2 catch bins, just one, and that's to catch Move it a little bit that way. That's to catch my coconut shreds. So I'm going to cut this coconut up over here in pieces that'll fit into the feed chute. And then the reason I didn't use the screen was because if I did that, it would juice the coconut. Then I'd get a pile of coconut fiber, and I'd get a coconut oil or a coconut milk, coming in the basin, which is really good. I love to use that on food. But this batch, we just want full fat coconut flakes in the dehydrator. So I'm going to use the blank plate, and I'll show you how that's done. Turn it on. Now, because there's not a high water content in coconut, it comes out as shreds, like so. If you were putting peas or something like that through this blank plate, you would get a puree, like a mush, but because those have more water. But this is going to be exactly what I want it to be, coconut shreds. You can see what I was talking about. See how the brown is still on this coconut? Which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and save myself the extra work and just put it through like that. It tastes the same, but you do see little brown flecks in the coconut meat. So I don't usually stand in this particular position when I'm doing the coconut. So I don't usually... Not really having to use a pusher until... Never mind, I'm using a pusher. Stored. And they're going to be dehydrated so that they can be stored and used in the future. What I have here for grating coconuts is a manual twirling one. Don't ask me what the professional name is, but I'm calling it the manual twirling one. And you use your hand to twirl it. And these sharps, I've already done a few on it, so it's already dirty, but these sharp spikes and this sharpened top just grate coconut shreds right out of the shell. So I'm going to show you that from far away like I have it now, and then I'll give you a close-up of what this actual thing looks like and how it clamps onto it. Place it on there and just start turning. And you'll start to feel your muscle, actually. Both this hand that's turning, it's kind of getting a workout, and this hand that's holding the coconut. And here's the close-up of the shreds of the shredder machine and the handle. So here's the difference between putting the stuff through the juicer and grating it by hand. Next I'm going to show you the Sedona dehydrator, which if you have this, your tray will look like this. Get you a comparison tray. I don't know if these are both fitting in the screen, but that's the difference. Again, the TriBest one, the Sedona one, it looks nicer and newer and more modern. This is a little bit wet from being rinsed, but it doesn't matter because so is the coconut, and they're just going to dehydrate all the water off of everything anyway. So here's my coconut. Here's my other kind of coconut. And again, I'm not being too particular about spreading it out, just as long as it's all there and has room to get dry. Slip this in here. And that one's set at 128 because it runs cold. Anyway, both dehydrators are going to be running in a second. Both dehydrators are running now, and I'm going to grate the rest of the coconuts and actually fill the dehydrators up. So you really don't want to run your dehydrator, especially not two dehydrators, unless they're full, because it's just a waste of energy. So let me get... Thanks for watching my video on coconuts, and I will see you next time.